Hello you guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be giving you about 20 different frugal living tips. Some of them you may have heard of before, some of them you haven't thought of for a while, and a few of them might actually surprise you. So stick around so you can find out what that is. Okay, so I'm going to be looking down, so just so you know, that's where all my notes are, because if I didn't have notes, my brain would be all kinds of crazy. Okay, so the first one is renting things instead of buying them. If you own a home, or even if you're renting, like say you're going to get bark dust, you're going to get firewood, whatever, you realize how much cheaper it is to rent a truck to get the firewood, to get all of that, than it is to own that truck for the purposes of a handful of times a year that you're going to need it. So many people that I know have a vehicle that they don't use very often. And the reason being is because 3 or 4 times a year they might need to use it for something. But here's the thing. Renting is so much cheaper than owning something. You can either rent one or you can borrow one, maybe, if you know somebody to borrow one from. So the thing is when you consider gas, insurance, upkeep, tires, all of that for a vehicle, that adds up to a lot of money. So that's one thing. And then realizing that all the things that we purchase for convenience, for example, food, right? All kinds of different things, like taco seasoning packets, right? You are paying a premium for the convenience of just opening the packet. Anything that is a convenience food item, you are paying a premium for. So what of those things could we make ourselves or partially make ourselves, right? So just something to think about. Anything that is made for a convenience has a premium cost to it. So just keeping that in mind. The next one is be careful who you're spending time with, right? Some of our friends, our family, they love us, we love them, right? Obviously. But sometimes those people aren't really good for the stage of life that we're in. And I know it sounds bad. I know. Like, for example, if you and your mom and your sister or your cousin, your aunt, whoever it happens to be, if you're always going shopping with them, and that's been your thing, you go shopping, you go to lunch, whatever, and then you decide that you're going to pay off debt, or you guys have a big goal, you're trying to save $10,000 because of putting down payment on a house, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes the people that we spend time with aren't really good for the spot in life we are right now. So consider, if you're trying to cut back on your spending, your shopping buddy is probably not the best person for you to be spending a whole bunch of time with, right? That's what I'm saying. Not completely getting them out of your life, but just lessening that amount of time that you're spending with them. Or another thing is explain the situation that you're in right now and see where that goes. And just, instead of going shopping, how about everybody gets together at one of our houses, blah, blah, blah. We make brunch, that kind of thing. That would be a lot cheaper. Okay. Next one is using up what you already have all the way. We all have those bottles of stuff that has just a little bit in it. Using all of that stuff up before we either open a new bottle or purchase a new bottle of whatever it is, say shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, all of that kind of stuff. Using what we have buys you a little bit more time until you have to buy the next batch of it, right? So quality instead of quantity. So buying things that you only have to buy maybe once. Like, for example, if you buy a shelf thing, some sort of a shelf system from Walmart, right? But you could buy something that was much better quality on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, or a garage sale, for way cheaper actually that you could get this cheap one brand new. And this thing will last you for years, right? The one that you got on Facebook Marketplace. And you can mix it and match it all over your house. So it could go in your bathroom, but it could also go in so many other places. And that's another tip too. Buying things that are multifunctional. You know, they can go in many different rooms. You can use it for so many different things. Instead of buying things that are just kind of one-trick ponies, right? This really nice wooden shelving unit, you could use it for a bookshelf. You could use it in the bathroom. You could use it in your bedroom. You could use it in the kitchen to put, you know, cookbooks and whatnot in. Things like that are so much more useful than something that is like, you know, the particle board, it's going to fall apart. It was only 50 bucks, whatever. You could buy something better for, if not the same price, sometimes even cheaper. But even if it is a little more expensive, you're going to get so much more use out of it. So that's another one. And then repurposing as much as possible, like shopping your own house before you go and are out shopping for something else. Like, I love home goods, absolutely love home goods, but when I go to Home Goods, I'm very tempted to buy other stuff. I don't generally, other than whatever I went there for. But very seldom do I ever need to go to Home Goods anymore. I just don't. I have purchased things in such a way to where I can use them all over my house. I can use, like, I have one of those little turntables. I have a few of them in the house. I have used them in bedrooms. I've used them on the kitchen table. I've used them all over the place. I love them. Little containers that I can use in the kitchen. I can use them in the bathroom. I can use them in the bedroom. Whatever the case may be. But the other thing is using things that you already have. You already paid for it, right? Like, I know this is just a pickle jar. However, when it's all cleaned up, I could use this for anything. And I do. We've used these even for chemicals out in the garage to shake things up, right? Used them for baked goods, or not baked goods, but baking supplies. Have used them for beans. We use these for all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't take much to get the labels off. You know, a lot of times it's a little bit of oil, dish soap, and they'll come off. But there's also many different things online that'll show you how to get them off. And so if you have one that's a little stubborn, just go online, and there's several different ways to go about doing that. And then next one is using much less product than the container says. So whether it is dish soap, laundry soap, shampoo, whatever, we only need to use a little bit, and most of us use way more than necessary. And it makes sense because most of the time on these packages, it says to use more than you need. Of course, that way you buy more of that thing rather than making it last. And for example, like, say you use fabric softener. I don't know if you do. Doesn't matter to me if you do or not. I'm just using it for an example. Okay, so if you have a bottle of Downy, for example, you can like dump part of it out into a different container, maybe something like this, and then fill the rest of that container up with water, because it is so concentrated that we just don't need that much, right? It just does the job with much less than it says to use. So the next one is taking the time to either cancel subscriptions or rotate them. So if you want Netflix and you want Hulu and you want Disney Plus and all of that, cool, you can have them all. Well, you can do whatever you want, but we don't even have enough time in the day to watch all of those. So if we did, say this month we're doing Netflix, next month we're doing Disney Plus, whatever, rotating them, or we have one for 3 months, we have another one for 3 months, and also canceling the ones that we don't use, because a lot of times we either forget to cancel, or, you know, we just signed up because we really wanted to watch that one series, or whatever the case may be. and then we forget about it. So taking the time to actually curate all of that and all of those little charges can really, really add up to a lot of money over the course of the month. And so the next one is making your own cleaners, mixes, baking mix, all of that kind of stuff. Which again is that having items in your home that are multi-use items. Vinegar, baking soda, salt, all of these things can be used for a myriad of different things. I'm putting my leg up on this if you're wondering what the heck I'm doing. I'm just, my back's a little wonky today, so I'm kind of doing this. But, so, all of these things that we can use for a multitude of different purposes, right? And then another one is, I know everybody says to declutter, but one of the reasons to declutter when your goal is to not be spending a ton of money, or you just are tired of wasting things, or whatever the case may be. You just want to be frugal with what you've been given, right? And so, decluttering. One of the biggest reasons for me to declutter is so that I'm not buying multiple things, you know, not buying something that I already have because I can't find it. That is a big reason people, you know, do multiple purchases. It's because they can't find things. And so the last one, and it's a doozy, is to clean off your dining room table. I know. All of that paper clutter is really kicking our butts. Now, the point of having your dining room table cleared off is so that you can eat at it. For so many reasons that I'm just now learning. I've been kind of studying this a little bit. So, there's so many studies that show how our relationships are, you know, more glued together when we sit down and have a meal. Now this, I know in the rest of the world, most everybody eats together, right? It's a very cultural thing. It used to be a very cultural thing here now, here as well. But here, more so, a lot of people either eat in front of the TV, they eat something while they're watching their YouTube video, you know, their whatever YouTube videos they're watching. We're not focused on the food that we're eating. And also, we miss out on that opportunity to have that time with our loved ones, right? And a lot of that is because our dining room tables are dirty. Not dirty necessarily, but they're just covered with stuff. And if you had your dining room table that was clear, it was pretty, maybe had something in the middle of it, it would invite you to come and sit down. Nobody wants to sit down at a table that's piled full of stuff. They're going to steer clear of it like the plague, right? And so cleaning your dining room table off may be more inviting for you to sit down and have a meal at the table. Just as nobody wants to cook in a dirty kitchen. Keeping the dishes clean and the counters clear can really invite you to more so want to cook in your kitchen. Want to spend time in there. Nobody wants to spend time in a mess. They just don't. To me, it just makes me want to run the other way. So, and I know I'm not the only one. I've been reading about it. So I'm not the only one. But, so I'm just saying, there's so many things that we can do that maybe become habits that will help us in all of our endeavors that we've got going on. Whether we're trying to pay off debt, pay off our house, you know, save money, build wealth, whatever our goals are, putting some of these into place and changing our mindset around some of them, around these things can really put us in a position to have more margin in our budget so that we can do all of these things. Okay, guys, I am going to go make sure my table is cleared off for one thing, but drink my coffee, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Give this a thumbs up. If you liked any of these, if you have any of your own that you want to add to these, I would love to hear them. I would love to read them. We all would. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.